Okay, good morning. Welcome to Yachting International Radio, and I am Rebecca Whitlocke. And joining me for coffee and conversation today, I'm speaking to Martin Enckell. And Martin is a polar expert for expeditions and has recently, they are launching a new expedition company, Nansen Polar Expeditions. So we will talk today about that. Welcome, Martin. Thanks for joining me today, all the way from a small island in Norway, I believe.
Yes, good morning. I'm in an island called Smøla in Norway.
Now, we've communicated a few times already on email, and I just wanted to get you on air today to discuss your new business that you were launching, Nansen Polar Expeditions. Now, can you share a little bit more about your new venture for the expedition yacht charters, and also the name of the website is We Follow Heroes. So where does that originate from?
So I was fortunate to be invited by a group of friends that I work with that found a ship. We thought it would be perfect for what we do, which is small luxury expedition cruising. Nansen is a true Norwegian hero. He was exploring the oceans. He was doing zoology. He was helping a lot of people. And he's also the family's good friends with some of my partners and their wives. So it was a little bit to honor Nansen himself. We Follow Heroes. It's basically with our chatting away that every time we go out on an expedition, we actually go and follow in the footsteps of those who have explored before. And we can go there because of them. And then the logo is the ship Fram, which Nansen used, and it's her sails also to connect everything together.
Okay, so you've got the consistency with the branding and a nice story behind the name and how the business has been created and the background, which is quite important today with yachting companies and expedition companies, is you need something memorable to connect to those charter clients who are wanting to go to all these amazing destinations. Now, you yourself, Martin, you've got a lot of experience working on as an expert advisor in TV shows that are filmed in these remote polar regions, such as Frozen Planet 2 and Blue Planet 2. And you've worked in the Arctic and Antarctica for a few decades now. Can you share with the listeners on Yachting International Radio today some of the challenges of filming in the polar regions, and when did you realize that there was a gap in the market, so to speak, for a dedicated polar expedition company specifically aimed at film or science projects?
Well, I think the challenges for filming in the polar regions will, of course, be weather and ice. Those are the main factors. There is a lot of planning behind everything, and very often the film crews know what they need to for their productions. It's not always achievable. Cooperate will close you in. Sometimes the wildlife will not cooperate.
Yes.
Sometimes you want the bad weather, so you actually follow bad weather. So make sure the stories are not just blue skies and happiness. So it needs to be a little bit tough as well, so it shows the true nature. Looking at the platforms that I was working on, when finding this vessel, we realized that she could actually do both luxury expedition cruising, but she is a working platform, so she will give the film crews the comfort, but also the space, and they need a lot of space for their equipment.
Of course, yeah. And so what, specifically for the boat that you're using, what features does it have that are going to be quite desirable for film crew that are going to polar regions?
So the main features for the filming itself is that the main deck, it's a huge working deck. Mm-hmm. It has also a lower deck that is completely covered, so all their equipment can still be unpacked, but it can be protected from the environment.
Okay.
It has 2 10-ton cranes, whereof the big one can swing 10 meters away from the vessel. so we can actually put a lot of gear on the ice if necessary. So those are main features that will be priority for the cruise.
Okay, and of course, because of the yacht's background as a workboat, it's a refit situation as opposed to a lot of explorer yachts that are coming out today are being designed from concept design and created for the owners. So you've almost gone the other way. You've found a boat that's perfect for the market, and then are refitting it to the client that you're hoping to connect with, such as film and science and these independent charter clients who perhaps are really interested in the wildlife and the nature experiences. Now, because Villa is quite a unique yacht, so to speak, compared to the other explorer yachts that are out there. You have expeditions that are lined up, such as August 2020. Now, can you tell me a bit more about one of the upcoming expeditions that you have planned?
Yeah, so we've only at the moment placed one on the website, and it's also because we want to branch out from the other companies due to the fact of Villa's capability. So we had meetings in Bristol with a lot of the film companies straight. That was our first meetings we had, and then we're also looking into private client charter, so small groups, private clients with friends and family, or company conferences. So that's why there is only one classic trip at the moment on the website, and there will be more in the future. It's just that we are looking into a little bit different angle of the ship and expeditions, so not doing the classic mainstream as well.
And how did you choose that first trip that you have that's on your website? How did you come about deciding that was the one to launch with?
It was the dates were quite suitable with our other plans, and it's a very nice time for anyone coming up to Svalbard in the height of summer. So we literally just put one together again with suitable dates, and it was a good time, good length to see a little bit of the interest as well.
Okay, that's great. And now the tours that you are going to run are going to have a maximum group size of 12 guests, I believe. Why do you think that small group size is going to be beneficial to Nansen Polar Expeditions as you grow a bit more profile?
I think they have always been extremely popular with small groups going out into the wilderness because of the meetings you get with wildlife in comparison to larger vessels. And with the industry changing today, a small expedition ship is now 150 passengers.
Yes.
And to me, being in the industry for so long, it's not really a small expedition company or an expedition ship anymore. It's an adventurous cruise. 12 people, you can do so much more. You are incredibly of course, 2 boats on the water with wildlife in comparison to 10 or 15 makes a huge difference and impact on the wildlife.
Yes.
So we have minimum disturbance and also hopefully maximum awarding, meetings with wildlife. That's what we aim for, and the luxury today would be the exclusiveness of a very, very small group.
Yes. Okay. And now you yourself, you've been going to the polar regions for a few decades now, so you're qualified to be an expert. I'm not. No, aside from yourself, who are the other team members that make up Nansen Polar Expeditions, and how do you see their skills adding to to the charter experience, perhaps for a customer that hasn't booked before or is interested in traveling to these destinations?
So a little bit behind the scenes, we have a businessman who is a very well-known Norwegian CEO. He's been in big companies before and is working with that now, and he is from the same island as my partners. One is technical superintendent. He's a chief engineer. He's the one responsible for the ship will be an perfect condition.
Mm-hmm.
One guy has a PhD in biology. He is an eagle expert. He's also a part guide, and he's our financial guide. Another partner is also the very experienced guide who will be the guide team with me. So we will have a combined experience of over 30 years in the polar regions when we guide our clients. And then our director of operations, she has over 15 years of experience with the super yacht level and the very, very high end clients and organizing expeditions. So we hope that the 6 of us together will bring in very, very important factors and make it a good package.
Yeah, of course, because having a team that's very skilled with dealing with the planning and the operations of charters in those areas is it's actually a very definitive factor in being able to choose not only a charter that is safe, but one that is going to be interesting enough to find all the elements that you need to make it enjoyable. It's not so easy to look at a brochure and choose something when you are not there. So I think probably that is quite a big feature as well, to have crew that have all that expertise already working in those regions. And now, would you view your company as offering luxury expedition cruising?
So yes, I do think we definitely offer luxurious expeditions, mainly in the terms of the 12 people experience.
Mm-hmm.
So we go down to the size as well, and this is one of our main selling points, to get away from the big crowds and flexibility again. She is not a super yacht as in looks. She doesn't have the huge cabins. She is being refitted. So she will be basically brand new inside. And the service on board will be very, very high standard. So yes, she will be a luxurious experience.
Okay, and then the focus, of course, on the smaller group size as well. And what do you feel is the profile of your target customer that you're aiming at with Nansen Polar Expeditions? Are they young? Are they old? What kind of experience are they looking for if they're coming to you?
I think today, age of people wanting to go out in the wilderness and do these kind of expeditions is gone a little bit. We have quite a young clientele. We do have families who come with their children to want to bring them out in the wilderness and go for hikes and learn a little bit about animals and see things. So with the private charters, very often we get families, and being able then to charter your own yacht, you don't have the rules that you have on an expedition ship or cruise ship, that you can't bring your youngest family members. You're free to choose that, of course, yourself. But we do have more or less everyone asking us to join in on different trips.
Okay, and how for the audience that's listening, because media-wise, I've seen more and more interest in off the beaten track destinations, particularly over the last few years. So how do you as a company deal with safety concerns that your potential clients might have about visiting these remote regions?
So
here in the more popular, you have the more popular charter regions such as the Med and the Caribbean, but you're literally, you can see the port. You're close. You have access to medical and things like that. So, what type of safety precautions do you take?
So the expeditions themselves are not dangerous or in any way super adventurous for what we do. We are operating in the high Arctic, where you have one of the best networks of rescue operations. So of course you have, with all insurances in place, you have a fleet of helicopters, you have icebreakers in the Canadian Arctic. Greenland and Svalbard has extremely advanced rescue operations with helicopters, due to the facts of the fishing fleets and the oil rigs and things like that. So we go under their system. When we operate from the ship itself, we follow ice charts and weather daily. So we operate in the conditions that we find safe. We have GPS, satellite phones, AIS, meaning that as soon as a small boat leaves the mothership, she's being tracked by the bridge.
Yes.
When we go for landings or hikes, we are required to carry signal pistols and rifles for protecting of the polar bears. So one of our main thing, of course, is to find them first and to view them, but there is a lot of safety put down before.
Yeah, and of course that's part of the advisory service that you offer for charter clients, is a safety briefing, etc., before you go out into the wilderness, so to speak.
Yes, the safety briefings on board are quite advanced, both for the ship itself, but also for how we operate, and how we operate not just with, for example, polar bears, but walrus, which are quite large animals, and ice and fog and the situations of that as well. And the industry now is so extremely safety concerned. So it's actually one of the more safe industries to travel in, because the tourist industry on ships has such a high level of rules and regulations to follow. So it's very, very safe. Okay,
and if you could share with the people listening in about the activities that you can do on an expedition yacht charter, what would you share with them? What type of activities are they likely to expect?
So in the beginning, on a normal trip, we operate a lot with, we find places we want to go ashore, or we want to go out in the zodiacs to go around corners and see what's out there. We go hiking, we go zodiac cruising. A lot of people do photography, either if it's advanced or if it's just with your iPhone. It's a lot of social media.
It almost seems wrong, doesn't it, just to use an iPhone if you go there.
A lot of people, the classic thing to do on a trip is to not just, some can be very active. We offer outings a couple of times a day, more so if we find something very interesting. If the groups are more into hiking, we have, if you charter the ship yourself, you can then of course add more things onto the ship. You can add kayaking, or there is a possibility for a submarine if people want that, but that completely depends on the charter clients. On the normal trips, it's basically wildlife and landscape based, and a lot of outdoor activities and wildlife viewing.
Yeah, of course. That's a big draw card, of course. Now, does Nansen Polar Expeditions, as a company, do you support any conservation or sustainability initiatives for the destinations that you intend to guide in?
We will do, for sure. We are just starting up. We are working very hard to get the ship up and running. We are looking into different organizations and looking into which ones are legit and which ones are serious. We are automatically part of what's called Clean Up Svalbard. So basically, any visual garbage you see is being picked up and being brought back to the ship and being handed over to the port of Longyearbyen. We work with the ship itself, so we'll try to limit single usable plastic and those classic things that we all need to help with. But we are looking into different couple of organizations that we would like to support in the future.
Okay, because it's quite an important thing, I think, for today's consumer. They're definitely leaning towards businesses that have that social good element and corporate social responsibility. And when people are traveling to these regions, that there aren't you don't have the density of the population. It's quite a important consideration today. So is there anything else that you would like to share with the audience today about the company or your plans for the future?
Come and join us.
I'd love to. When do I book?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so now just to remind you, we've just been chatting to Martin Enckell from Nansen Polar Expeditions. So keep an eye on Yachting International Radio and a few media in the near future, where we'll be pushing out a lot more information about the company as the boat is refit and eventually launched, and the tours going forward. And if you would like more information about the tours that Nansen is going to be guiding, you can go to We Follow Heroes. So www.wefollowheroes.com. And in the comments, I'll also add that. We'll make sure that all the details are added for that website. So thank you, Martin, for joining me today from Norway. And I look forward to following the progress of the company as you launch, and hearing more about your upcoming expedition charters.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.